Hi, my name is Tania. Welcome to Salisbury's Neighbourhood Centre and our community garden. Today we're going to do a little video just about the basics of composting and how you can build a compost at home, large or small, and what we need to do to make our composting successful. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of things we can use to make our compost. So here at Salisbury's Neighbourhood Centre we've got this really large compost bin, which is great because it splits in two, so we can pull up one side to access our compost down from the bottom to put in our garden. So this is quite a large one. You can get smaller bins if you want to do something above the ground. You can do something as simple as make a little bin out of pallets, a wire cage. If you're looking at something a little bit on the smaller scale, you can use a bucket or a container with a lid and put some holes in that and use that as your compost. You can also compost straight into the ground and into your soil. So we can just dig a hole and start our own compost pile in our ground. You can, if you like, purchase some little compost bins that you can buy now to compost in your kitchen, but they can be about $60. So just depending on what you want to do. You can go all out, or you can look at some cheaper options. There's a bit there for everyone. So now we've looked at what types of things you can use to build your compost. We're going to look at what types of things we can put in to our compost bins. So a really good compost is made up of 2 parts of green waste and 1 part of brown waste. That's kind of your recipe. Think of it as if you're making bread. You need those good quantities to make a great compost. So with your green waste, that's things like your lawn clippings, your fresh prunings that you do, and your kitchen food scraps. Your brown waste is things like shredded newspaper or shredded paper, dry leaves, if you've got dry leaves around the garden and you're raking up, some little twigs. That are what we call our brown waste, straw as well. So when you're building a compost, a lot of the time we like to layer them and do green waste and then some brown waste and some green waste and some brown waste. But you don't necessarily have to do that. So things that I like to put in the compost, kitchen scraps, so all your vegetable peelings, any vegetables that you've forgotten about hiding in the bottom of the fridge there that might have gone a bit yuck. Your fruit peelings, maybe not so much the citrus because worms aren't fans of that. Eggshells, coffee grounds, tea bags, they can all go in your compost bin, as well of course as your lawn clippings and any prunings you take. So they're great to go in. You can add cardboard, like I said, some newspaper, sawdust, charcoal. If you have a wood fire at home and you're burning wood, your charcoal can go in there. Not so much your charcoal if you're using heat beams, but from your wood, definitely you can put that in there as well. One of the key factors with compost is making sure we turn it. The ingredients need a good dose of oxygen to get that heat up and to break everything down. So keep it moist, it likes a bit of water, turn it regularly. Now when you're looking at the bigger compost bins, they can be a little bit hard to get in there and turn. You can use a pitchfork. You can buy a mulch turning tool, which looks like a great big corkscrew. You can get that in there and turn your mulch. Some of the things not to add, please don't add, if you're going to use your compost on any homegrown vegetables, anything like that, I don't think putting animal waste is in there is a good idea. Don't add your onions and your citrus, and of course things like bread and animal fats are going to attract pests. So try and keep it nice and fresh and green, and good luck with those composting. So if you're starting a compost at home, what I suggest is start by putting a little container in your kitchen or a bag. So when you're using your vegetables and your peelings, start collecting those into a bag. Then you can add those to a compost bin. Now if you don't have any of the brown waste that we spoke about, cardboard paper, you can buy some mulch and just add a scoop of that mulch when you're adding your kitchen scraps. We need to keep that right balance, otherwise it won't compost and decompose properly. If we've got too much brown waste, it'll be dry. If we've got too much green waste, it'll be like a cluggy sort of smelly mess. So we want to make sure we've got that good mix. So start off simple in your kitchen. If you're peeling or chopping vegetables, put your scraps aside into a bag or a container, and then we'll start with our compost from that. So you can add that to your compost bin with a scoop of mulch, and that'll get it started. Of course, if you're going to mow your lawns, you can add those grass clippings. So I mentioned before about how you can just compost straight into your soil. If you don't want to do an above ground compost, getting those nutrients straight into your soil is really simple. I've dug a small hole, I've made myself a salad for lunch, and I've got some leftovers. I'm just going to pop them in, and I will give it just a little covering of soil. And I can continue just adding till I fill up that hole. The worms and the little microbes in the soil are going to do their wonders. Break that down and spread it throughout the soil. So that's a great way to compost straight into the area where you want your nutrients and your compost to go. Good way to help improve soil over a period of time. You can also dig a hole if you feel like you want it a little bit more contained. Get a tube of PVC, a bucket, drill some holes in it and put that in the ground. Have it sticking up a little bit and add your compost into there. You've still got to look at that ratio of your green waste and your brown waste. But that's a nice easy way to do it and get the goodness going straight into the soil straight away. If we're making a compost in our compost bins, turning it, get it going really well. Letting it rest is another really good thing to do. So as you add and add and add and your compost gets full, giving it turns, keeping it watering, letting it rest. So while that one's resting and breaking down, we can start a new compost pile. So that might be you start looking at doing something in the soil. Once you've got a really good compost, it's going to look like a nice dark rich soil, which is perfect for you to add to your garden beds, to your potted plants and to your vegetables. Really good soil, should be around a neutral pH, full of great nutrients and all the goodness that the plants are going to love. So how you know your compost will be ready is a really good question. I get, how long until I start my compost will I actually start getting the benefits from that compost? Good question. It's going to really depend on what you put in there, how much you aerate it and keep it moist in that temperature. What you're going to look for is down the bottom of your compost is a nice, rich, beautiful, dark soil that crumbles beautifully. When you've got that, you're ready to go. If it's taking a little bit longer and it's not coming that way, then we might need to look at the balance in your compost bin. Then what we can do with that compost is we can use that on our gardens. You can sprinkle it over the top, add it to a garden bed. You can even make a fertilizer with it. So if you add 1 part of your compost to 3 parts of water, give it a stir, dilute it, put it in a spray bottle, you can use that as a little bit of a liquid fertilizer. You can also add your compost with a little bit of sand and make your own potting mix. Plenty of uses, saves you having to buy in compost for your soil, and a great way to keep our waste down. A common question I get asked is, can I put my dog's poo in a compost at home? I tend to err on caution there and say no. Your dog's feces contains some parasites and they're not really great for human consumption, especially no if you're looking at putting your compost on anything edible. Avoid that. You can put some aged cow manure and horse manure in your compost that you can purchase commercially, which is already broken down, but I advise against putting your pet waste in a compost bin if you're using that on anything that you're going to eat, just because they can contain some parasites which are harmful for humans. So just be really careful there. Don't forget, if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section and we'll have a read, and I'll do the best I can to answer your questions.